today's video is going to be a little different because the main star of the video is actually a running, riding, very nice thing. Probably one of the nicest things I own. And that is my 2017 KTM 300 XC. So if you've been watching this channel for any length of time, you know most of the things I own are pretty beat up, and I don't generally buy stuff running and ready to go. But this was an odd occasion. Now, I've owned old, beat up, cheap bikes for my whole life pretty much, and I love them. But I've always wanted a KTM 300. A few years ago, I saw some guys riding them and just absolutely fell in love. I knew it would be exactly what I wanted. 300cc is like the perfect combination for me. Two-stroke, I've always loved two-strokes. These are just the bikes to have for single-track trail riding, which is what I really enjoyed doing. So, about 2 months ago, I went and picked this bike up for a pretty good deal, I think. So like I said, it is a 2017, and it does have 200 hours on it, which is a sizable amount, but considering I've never had a bike with an hour meter to actually check hours, it's kind of hard to compare in my head, but I've read plenty of testimonials of these things lasting for upwards of 400 hours, so I'm not too concerned. The gentleman I bought it from came from South Dakota and actually drove it out to Iowa for me and was really great to deal with. He had owned the bike since new and had done a fair amount of work to it. But you can tell how good a shape it is and how well he kept it by there not being a single dent on the pipe at all. It's got some scratches and some bruises, nothing really bad. So the bike has had some work done to it. It's got an aftermarket headlight assembly and taillight assembly because it was a street legal bike in South Dakota. I'm not 100% sure that'll transfer over to Iowa for me, and I'm not too worried about it. Another thing the bike has done to it is these are actually the shocks and everything off of a 2022 and rear suspension. And that is because he bought a brand new bike and liked the suspension he had set up on this bike, so he swapped them out. Which is really nice because it's brand new suspension, but these are air shocks, which I'm not a huge fan of, but so far they've impressed me. They just require a little bit more maintenance and tuning, I guess. The bike also has some just minor additions like this disc brake guard, aftermarket skid plate. I rejetted it for my elevation and bark busters, which are all things that I would have done anyway. So I'm very happy with how it's all set up. So today's video is just going to be about getting it ready to race tomorrow, actually. Tomorrow is the first hair scramble of the Midwest for the 2024 season. And I'm going to go to it, which will hopefully be the first hair scramble that I actually finish. I say the first hair scramble that I'll ever finish, hopefully, because I have participated in a hair scramble once for all of a half a lap before the big wheel back here decided to have a major mechanical failure and leave me on the side of the track for the entire race. So, I'm hoping with a little bit of preparation, this thing won't do the same. First thing first, we're going to go ahead and get the transmission fluid changed. One perk of buying a nice bike is it actually came with the original manual, which is super handy. Nice. While we wait for the oil to drain, I do actually have one thing to fix on this bike, and that is a self-inflicted wound, which was this clutch lever. I have no idea how that could have happened. So I ordered this one on Amazon, and hopefully it fits. Remind me to check that tomorrow to make sure that's adjusted right. But it seems like it fits perfect. Drain plug, got a little bit of goop on it, but nothing too scary. Oil was definitely on the older side, but again, I'm not concerned by it. So for oil math, we went ahead and used my 2-stroke oil and gas mixer because it is labeled with ounces on the side here. I need 27.2 ounces of oil for the transmission of this. So I filled it up to 17, and then I'll come back and fill it up to 10. Now this isn't the quickest way to do it, but it's a lot easier than getting yelled at for using my girlfriend's kitchenware to measure this out instead. All right, one of the last things we gotta get done here is go ahead and check the air forks level. So you pull this little Schrader valve cap. Then we'll go ahead and hook up our air pump, which is kind of tricky to do. Oh, looks like we're on bar. Oh, PSI 132. So it looks like they held good since the last time I went riding. I think that's exactly what I like. So the manual actually says we want 139 PSI. I'm a heavier guy, so I'm gonna go a little higher than that actually. Maybe up to like 140ish. We'll try that. And you just unhook it. Now, an important step here is with the bike up in the air, which I have achieved with my sketchy cooler and plank of wood, since I don't have a good motorcycle stand, which will change soon. You actually have to bleed off any excess air using a T20 torque spit. Easy as that. All right, we got to check the chain, and I think that is all this bike needs other than some fuel thrown in it, and we're ready to race. And it's looking like we're a hair on the loose side. I'm going to tighten that up just a tiny bit. That's looking pretty good. All right, got everything done that I wanted to get done. Definitely would have liked to clean the air filter, but I don't have 24 hours to let it dry out, and I'm not going to risk racing with a wet air filter. So let's call it a night. So I ended up getting wildly lost on the way to the race because come to find out there's 2 places with the exact same address with only a different zip code within 30 minutes of each other. And one of those places happens to be the race, and the other place happens to be a empty field. So didn't have nearly as much time as I thought to plan and do any filming before the race. So you're pretty much going to get dumped right into watching me start the race. Yeah, that's me, all the way on the right there, getting ready to fall over.
So as I mentioned, this is the first race in the series, and that series is the IERA, which is the Iowa Enduro Riders Association. This race was in Prophetstown, Illinois, and it was way sandier than I was expecting. It actually snowed the night before back where I live, which is about an hour and a half from this, so I was expecting an absolute muddy mess, and was relatively pleasantly surprised to find it was actually really sandy. And yeah, I know this is the absolute prime time to pass this guy. Hey, you live, you learn. So, rather than let you guys sit through an hour and a half race, which is how long this was, I'm going to try my best to just fast forward to the parts that are what I find is interesting, maybe.
I'm gonna be so sore.
So of course, as soon as I get past that guy and start getting in a good cruise speed, I run right into a group of people waiting for a down tree.
Oh, nice giant pile up.
And stuck behind more people, so fast forward it is. And here we have another tree to slow you down to a crawl.
Fuck. Shouldered that tree. Don't want to explode myself. Oh wow, that's a lot of people. Thank you.
Typical GoPro fashion, it let me down and decided to die about 30 minutes into the race, leaving the last hour of race completely unrecorded, even though I had plenty of battery and storage. But the race went pretty similar to what you've seen so far, except for pretty much right after it stopped recording, I was trying to pass this guy in a straightaway, which I did not realize also had some whoops in it, and ended up going over the handlebars and wrecking. Which wasn't too bad, but blew the wind out of my sails, and then I just slowly got tireder and tireder. And my pace got slower and slower, if you can imagine, going slower than what you've seen so far. But in the end, I ended up pulling the win of my class. I was in the sportsman class, which only had about 8 people in it, but I still pulled first somehow, which was a real confidence booster for my first ever hair scramble that I finished. So, let me know if you guys like these style of videos. Usually the dirt biking ones don't do very well for me, but I figured, worst case in 50 years, I can come back and watch myself and do my first race ever. But if you guys like them, let me know, and I'll keep trying to put out some dirt bike footage. So without any further yapping, thank you guys for watching, and keep an eye out. We'll be back on some regular content, building stuff and reviving stuff. See you guys.